What are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned from your experience in the thermal spray industry that maybe you would like to share with potentially the next generation of thermal spray professionals? Is there something you can give them to launch them in the right direction?
Yeah, I would say this. A couple things. If you're interested in being in the thermal spray industry, get your hands dirty. Be in the spray booth and understand the coding and the process from the really roots of what you're doing with the process. A second thing is document everything. Come up with ways of tracking what you're doing and document it and make a formal document showing exactly what you're doing with the coding. What are the parameters? There's some new tools out there, which we actually sell one of them too. It's a system called Spray Watch, where we're actually able to measure the velocity and the temperature of the molten particles in flight. So what thermal spray does is you're taking a thermal spray torch and you're injecting into that a material, whether it's metal or ceramic, whether it's wire or powder. You're injecting this material into a high energy arc or flame. So you're melting that metal or ceramic and you're atomizing it with a compressed gas. So just as you spray paint, we're spraying this molten material. There's a lot of parameters behind that. And this molten material, is flying through the air. These particles are molten. And as they hit the object you're trying to coat, they splat and they adhere and they instantly solidify. So you don't have a drying time. Once it hits, it solidifies. So the parameters are very critical are what is the temperature of that particle? As it's flying through the air, it's initially increasing in temperature while it's in the energy source. But after it leaves the energy source, it starts cooling. And there's a velocity behind that. It's the fastest velocity just as it's leaving the torch, but it starts slowing down as the further out it goes. So there's some optimum point in that flight where you want to put the object you're trying to spray at the correct temperature and velocity of the particle to get the best coating property, which would be adhesion, density, and those sorts of measurements. We make bond strength, that sort of thing. So measuring that is critical, and documenting how that works is critical. So with this instrument now, so we set this thing, it's basically a high-speed camera that measures these particles. You can change the parameters that control your thermal spray torch, whether it's the speed of a wire, the gas pressures, gas velocities, a bunch of variables depending which thermal spray system you have that you can change that will change and affect the velocity and temperature of those particles. So the idea there is, again, if I'm giving advice to a young professional is make sure you're able to measure as many parameters that you can, document what those parameters are, and correlate that to what your actual coating properties are that you would have the properties determined in a laboratory. If you'd like to have any more information about the thermal spray or want clarity on the thermal spray or our patented technology in the pivot arc, give us a call at 724-229-5791 or email me at bob@thermalspraydepot.com.